So we began by introducing the size of this. Now, I hope before we start this, there is communication. I hope there is communication, as in we are going to start our an online lesson. So I think that's why most of us, or most of the students, are not in, but it's okay. So these one decision tables, we say that there is a decision tabular representation of a program logic and displays or conditions affecting a particular situation and appropriate action to be taken by each set of conditions. So that is a definition. And also we talked about is a diagrammatic method of logic modeling where the analysts use logic modeling. So we looked at the components. So just what you need to understand about this definition is that whenever we talk about decision tables, of course there are others. There is another one called the decision trees. Of course, then it has conditions affecting a particular situation, and then some. So let's go back. So now we say that and when you look at this, we see that the conditions usually come at this first cell or this rectangle here. Then after that one, depending on the number of or depending on the condition, there are some you can have over 3 conditions, 2 conditions, and then if, for example, you have 3 conditions, you're going to raise them to power what? To power 2. What conditions? You have 2 conditions. You raise that condition to power 2. You're going to have how many condition entries? You're going to have 4 condition entries. And once you have your 4 condition entries, the first row of the condition entry, you usually divide it by 2. So you're going to have how many yeses? 2 yeses and 2 nos. And then the next row will be yes, no, and that's done with that. Then of course from there, you determine the action, or you determine the action that would take place based on the condition. So now I want to give you another example of these decision trees tables, and so we see whether I don't know whether I can give it as a side as like a question so that you do it. Let me see. Let me try and work it out. I think you do it as an example. In the previous example, we said consider the following example which illustrates the basic concept of decision table. If it rains, all rains are expected, carry an umbrella. So what is this now? So if it rains and does not, or rain is expected, those are the conditions. So if you have 2 conditions, what are the actions? What are the actions expected? The first action is carry an umbrella. And of course, if another action that can be there, it's suitable for you to carry an umbrella, and when is it not suitable for you to carry an umbrella? So like, for example, this day, it's raining and rains are also expected. So let's say, for example, it's raining. So here we have some internet issue. I hope you can still hear me. So Esther is asking, please come again. When are we starting the normal classes? You are breaking, didn't hear you. You are breaking, can't hear you. Okay, now Esther, I hope you can still hear me clearly. Now we're going to start our physical classes as from tomorrow. That is Wednesday. Okay, physical classes are starting officially tomorrow. And of course, all the way now until maybe further notice. Yeah, so there has not been any communication done to you, because I was told that there were communications. There were some communications that were done on that are being done by the people who are in the front office. So if you have not received any, you can wait for it, or maybe I don't know the channel they use. Do they call you? Do they send you email? I don't know, but maybe they will inform you in case they have not informed you. Yeah, of course you can come back if they have not informed you. It's until when they contact you, that's when you come back, of course. But for me, I know it's from tomorrow. Now I don't know whether you guys are. Anyway, it's okay. So now we are talking about this decision table, and we are saying that if it's raining, let's say it's raining now, and maybe after 2 minutes it stops raining, and then maybe you see, when you look at the skies, you can still see some skies and some rainy clouds. What do? So you carry an umbrella. So this is a good day for you to carry an umbrella. Let's say, for example, it's raining, and the rains are not, but currently it's raining, and of course you can't expect rain. And this day the rains are not. It's raining. It's just raining that day. So that day you're also going to carry an umbrella. What about if it's not raining, but rains are expected? So that day also you're going to carry an umbrella. You put a tick. Well, what about when it's not raining and the rain are not expected, like January? That day you don't carry an umbrella. So these are just a small illustration of how decision tree tables work. Okay, let me just bold these ones. Of course, now these concepts I will not be repeating them. For the guys who are in town campus, especially you guys, when you come back, we just go to the where we've gone. We've gone up to the loops. We were done with the condition statement, if else, case statements. We did the case statements. So when you come back, we're going to resume with the four loops, and then after that one we go to arrays, etc. So I'm not going to start from here, from the decision tables. This is something that you are supposed to have, but maybe I can revisit the concept of structured charts. That one I'll have to revisit, because it's something that you're supposed to cover. Now let's look at this question, another example here for the decision tables. Example 2. So for this example 2, the question goes like this. Consider the basic, consider basic check, caching decision. Check caching decision. I think I will give you this one. This one I'll just cite and then you guys you do it. Yeah, so consider a basic check caching decision such as X, Y, Z company. Then maybe when you do it, I will check, and then maybe you see that you're getting the concept. So consider a basic check caching decision such as XYZ company might face. So this is an XYZ company. So this is what is happening in this X and Y company. This is what is happening. So we can say when people want to pay, when people want to pay by check, when do we accept the check, and when do we refuse the check, or when do we reject the check or refuse the check? So that is the question. Suppose that the firm, another question here, we proceeding. Let me just press this one to the next page so that you can see it. So consider basic. Suppose that the firm decides accept check only from local banks, and also accepts checks only from accepts checks and also accepts only from the people who have a picture identification. Picture identification. This is a question that I would like you to attempt. So this is the condition is there. So what is the condition here? What are we checking? So these are the actions, really. These are the actions. You only have two actions. That is, they want you to like determine from this information they have given you. They want you to determine the actions. These are the actions. The actions are, when do we accept check and when do we reject check. So the conditions are here. The conditions are here. So suppose the firm decides to accept a check only from the local banks. So that is one condition. And also accepts check only from the people who have a picture identification. So picture identification is the next. So am I helping you to solve it? So these are the conditions. The conditions are two. Accept check from local banks. So local banks is one of the conditions. Accept from local banks. So this is the first condition. And then the next condition is accept from people who have condition. So those are the two conditions. What about the actions? The actions are to accept check and reject check. Then from there now, I want you to finish up this decision table. So try this just a minute. Just give me 1 minute. I place it on. I place the question on PowerPoint. So I want you to try this. We only have two guys. Wow. Okay. Let me share it again. So now we have this. Let me stop sharing first. Share it again. Yeah, so I want you to try this. Just draw the way you want. Some of these questions we don't really look, we check the concept. Are you getting the concept all? Yeah, so that is the main area that we focus on, not the not the correctness. If you have the idea, you know where the conditions go, you know where the actions go, you know where the entries goes. That's what we check. So try and do that in the next 10 minutes. So by 10:35, you should be done. So far, for those who are joining us, we are doing that question. We are attempting that question there. We are trying to design a decision table. A decision table. So right now we are how many minutes? 1 minute. I don't know whether you are done. what we can do, we can just try and draw it out. Can see nobody has submitted. So what we can do, we can just try and we can submit that in our, I can just try and solve it out for you. Let me just open my Microsoft Word document so that we can try that. Is there somebody who's done with that? Somebody who is done? Esther, are you done? Esther, what about Cynthia and Joseph? Just give me some response. I want to see whether maybe I would not want to leave you. How is it? Let me get some response how it is, how you view the question. Is it workable or can I continue? Yeah, no. Is it workable? Are you trying or? One student here called Joseph who is lifting up his hand. Yes, Joseph.
Okay. According to me.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
According to me, to some extent, I have tried. But there was a concept on here to calculate the number of columns in the decision table. That's the point on determining where the yes, no, yes, and hizo concept hapo kuna venye sikuelewa, so it's like my table imefika tu katikati ikakwama, sikuweza kudetermine zile rows nafaa kutumia.
Sawa.
Yeah.
Haya, ni sawa. Wacha tujaribu kuisolve.
Yeah.
So let me just share my screen afresh. Try and see this. So here we have, let me share the entire screen. So in this question, consider a basic check cashing decision such as XYZ company might face. So when people want to pay check, and when do we reject, or when people want to pay by check, when do we accept the check, and when do we reject the check? So that is the action. The action they want to know, when do we accept, under what situation do we accept the check, and under which situation or what situation will you reject a check? So this is now what helps them to determine the truth. So suppose the firm decides to accept check only from local banks and also accept check only from people who have a picture identification. So the condition will be, there are two conditions. Checking this flow chart. If you are to draw this flow chart, how would it look like? Let's first of all draw this program using a flow chart so that we see, maybe most of you understand the concept of flow charts. So the first thing is to start, this is not the flow chart, and then of course you have the flow line there. So the system or the program will ask you for what? It will ask you to input the accept check from so local or where can we say what is the input? Suppose the firm accepts check only from local banks. Name of bank or locality of bank. Let's say it's going to ask you locality of bank. That is the question that you'd be asked by the program. So you enter, maybe you want it's in Nairobi, then the program will know Nairobi is in Kenya. Then if, for example, you say the locality of your bank is in Uganda, or maybe it's in Uganda, it will know what else to do. So also it will ask you whether picture. It will ask you for picture identification. So it will also ask you for, let me look, locality of the bank. Then the input is what? Identification. Let's just say identification. It will ask you for identification card. The system will ask you for, or insert identification card. You can say insert identification card. That is the input. Once you input that one, then there will be some decisions to be made in this program. The first decision would be it will check whether your locality is from the locality of your bank is a local account. So it will check the locality. So this one, what can we call it the decision for this one? We can say that local bank. It will check for local bank. So if it's local bank, what will be the action? Oh, imekuwa kubwa sana than the document. Let me reduce the shapes. So I'm just reducing the size of these ones because I've realized there's no space. I don't know why there's no space. So if it's of local bank, what will be the action? The action will be accept check. So this one will be output is accept check. This will be it's a complicated program actually. I can see it from programming logic. It's not very easy. Not very easy because at times there will be a decision also to check whether it's from local bank. Okay, so this is yes. If yes. If no, if you don't, it can also check. This is another decision. It will also check whether you have an identification. It will also check whether you have an picture ID on the ID card. So kama iko na picture, if your ID has a picture on it, what will happen? It will also accept the check. So if yes, what will happen? Accept check. That is, if you have another picture ID. The program is not as easy as you think. When I look at it, because also we need to check. There's something else we need to check. It will also check whether they have, if somebody has is from the local bank, and also maybe he has a picture ID on it, will it also accept yes? So just a minute. So this the output is the action. These output statements, the accept check is the action. Only that the space is not enough. So there it is. So now we also have another one here. This one will check whether it's a local bank or it has a picture ID. So that one will also be accepted. Local bank. If, for example, you say you have a local bank and then it asks you for insert an identification card, then you insert your identification card. It checks whether you have a picture ID. Then also it will also accept your check. Okay, just a minute. So if yes, it will also accept check. But now if somebody is not from the local bank, then he is not from, his picture does not have, or his ID card does not have a picture card, what will happen? It will automatically reject the check. So if, let me ask, if you have a, okay, let's see the question. Suppose the firm decides to accept check only from local banks and also accept check when the person has a picture ID. So I think this one, we can have the two, we can get rid of this. It can only accept check from, let's say, from local. Does it accept check? Or it only accepts check from the people who are from local banks and they have a picture ID. I think that one will simplify things. It will only accept check that from people who are from the local bank and people who have a local who have a picture ID. So this one you can say delete here. So it will only accept picture from people who are from local banks and whose identification card has got a picture ID. So anything else, it will reject. Anything else, it will automatically reject. I think that one will simplify things for us. There it is. So this is if no. If no, reject check. So suppose that the firm decides to accept check only from local banks and also accept check only. That word only changes everything. Only when the person has a picture ID. So it will check. It will only accept your bank or your check when you are only from the local bank and only when your identification card has a picture ID. So any other, it will automatically reject. So that is the flowchart to represent our program. Those are the actions: accept, reject. Then of course now the last thing is to join this flowchart and to end it. There it is. So once you join it, piga unaweka one, and then hapo mwisho we put a stop. So that is the flowchart. I didn't mean to draw it, but because of I wanted you to understand what is happening in that system. So the condition is that there are two conditions: local ID and. For you to understand it, I needed you to understand this is and picture ID. So it will check those two conditions. If they are true, then it will accept the check. If those two conditions are not met, it will definitely reject the check. So now let's draw the decision. The decision, just a minute, I check. So we're going to draw now the decision table for that question. As you can see, we are accepting this is the input, and now the condition is here. Of course, mine is not neat, but it's just an illustration. Just a minute. Going to the next page. Here we are in the next page. Now we are going to draw the decision table. So we're going to go to insert, and then we said we have how many boxes, or we can use a table, insert table, how many rows and how many columns. Of course, if I was drawing using, okay, let me draw it manually instead of inserting table so that you understand what I mean, instead of just drawing. Yeah, so let me draw it manually. So we're going to have a key box, a box like this. This is now the table. This is how I would have drawn it in a class setup. First of all, you draw a box, and then now you're going to subdivide it accordingly. So now, the first block will be conditions and rules. Okay. Insert table. Let me try and insert a table. How many insert table? How many columns? I can say 2 columns. Trying to simplify it. Drawing it using the computer. How many rows? We can put as many rows as possible. Then you click OK. Okay, now from there, hoping that it's going to work. Can I be able to subdivide this? So the first thing that we are doing here is to determine the condition, to pick the conditions. This one we are not going to start with the inputs. We're going to look at the conditions. What are the conditions? We are checking the checks for the whether they are from the local banks, and also we are checking whether the checks have a picture ID. Picture ID. So those are the 2 conditions that we are checking. Then for the rules or for the actions, the one that Mr. There is Joseph Akuanaelewa. So they are called the rules or condition entries. You can also call them rules. So rules. How many rules are you going to have? So in this one, rules, you do this. I said you use x to power n. What is x to power? This is a rule that will determine the number of rows or the number of columns that you're going to have here. It will be x to power n. And what did we say this one? We said that x is the number of conditions. And currently, how many conditions do we have? We only have 2 conditions. That is local banks. Then n, whereas n, that power n, represents x represents the conditions, the number of conditions. Just a minute. The number of conditions. And whereas n, this n here, represents the n, x bold, and n, the x represents the number of conditions, whereas n represents number of alternatives, the number of alternatives, number of alternatives. And of course, we usually have 2 alternatives. We usually have 2 alternatives. 2 alternatives. We have yes, no. Those are the 2 alternatives that we have for our condition. So if, for example, there are 2 conditions. By default, we usually have 2 alternatives. That is yes and no. So if the number of columns you have, or the number of conditions you have are 2. So if you say 2, and then you raise to 2, You raise that one to the number of alternatives. So what will be the number of alternatives? What will be the total number of alternatives you'll have here? These are the rules also. We said you can call them rules, and also you can call them alternatives. Okay, so this one we have two conditions. So how many alternatives are you going to have in total? We're going to have a total of how many alternatives? Or how many possibility? A total of how many? So possibilities. Just a minute. So possibilities is equals to x to power 2. So if 2 is raised to 2, this is the total number. That will be a minute. If 2 is raised to 2, what will be this? 2 raised to 2 is how many? 4. 4 total. 4 total for 4 possibilities. A total of 4 possibilities. So these 4 possibilities will determine the number of columns that will go here, hapa kwa rules. So currently we have 4 possibilities. So how are you going to divide it? We want to divide this one into 4. So I can just, I can actually select all those ones and I give them 4. I divide it into 4. Is it 4 columns? Yes. So how do I divide this program now? Split cells. Let me see how it's possible. Rows, columns 4. Click OK. See that is good. Yeah, this is perfect. Now we have how many? So rules, we have 4 possibilities. Then we usually say this, 4 possibilities. Once you get the 4 possibilities, you have to divide it into 2. So this one, 4, you have to divide it further by 2. Because now you have two alternatives. You divide it by 2, which will be the first row. The first row of this decision table will have how many yeses? We'll have here 2 yeses and 2 no's. Okay. So like for example, you come here and say yes, and then you come here directly, you say yes. There is no much complication. Don't complicate it. Just say like this. You're going to say this one now to determine the rules. The first row is usually like this. The total number of possibilities divided by 2, the 2 alternatives. So you're going to have 2 yeses and 2 no's. And then in the second row, you're going to divide the possibilities again by 2. So currently the remaining ones is you can say yes, no, yes, no. So these ones, once you divide this one, the first one is 2, then you're going to divide these ones again by 2. So if you have yes, yes, and no, no, so divide them again by 2. You're going to have yes, no, yes, no. Okay. Fill the condition alternatives, starting with the first condition. Divide the number of columns by the number of alternatives. For that condition, e.g., okay, if you have, for example, 16 alternatives or 16 possibilities, same hapo ulikuwa na 16 possibilities, and that I think that's what we did. If we have 16 possibilities, then these ones hapa tutaweka how many yeses and no's. Tutakuwa na yes, 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 8 na no, 8. The second one will be, you divide this one by 2 again. So yeses were 8. So it's going to be 4 yeses and 4 no's, like that, until mahali utafika ikuwe yes, no, yes, no. That's when you stop now. So for us now, we stop up to that point. The moment you see yes, yes, no, that's when you stop dividing it further or entering more rows. Right. Now, from there we have actions. We have the conditions, we have determined the condition. Of course, most people will definitely, according to the rules that I gave you, most people, once they're done with the condition, they go to the actions. But for me, because everybody has a way of approaching things, I usually start from conditions and the rules. So now, condition actions, how many are the actions we have? We have 2 actions, that is accept and reject check. Accept check, and then the other action is reject. So we're going to determine under what basis are we going to accept this check, and when under which basis are we going to reject this check. So layout, delete rows. Yeah, I don't need those ones. So when are we going to delete? So this person here, the first column here, these ones we usually call them what? Hii tunaitanga action entries, hizi zenye ziko hapa. Actually, I don't need to. So these ones here, the ones that will come here now, they are called action entries. They are going to determine when are we going to do this. So the first person came here and he presented his card is from a local bank, yes, and also he has a picture ID on his ID. So according to this one, akikuwa na picture ID, and he also has is from a local bank. So we are going here to accept his check. That is, we're going to check that. Hii nayo tuweke tu dash. So in this one now, this other one now, he's from a local bank, yes, but he does not have a picture ID. He does not have a picture ID. So do we accept his check? No. So we are not going to accept his check, because for us to accept this check, we as a company, we only accept checks that are of local banks, and those checks that have got a picture ID. So hapo tuta reject hiyo yake, tumwambie go and look for a picture ID or come with that. We want a card that has a picture ID, so hiyo tutamwekea dash. Then another one comes the next day. He says, I'm not from a local bank. My check is not from a local bank, but I have a picture ID. So what are you going to do? You're going to tell him no. So we're not going to accept your check is until you present both about the local bank, yeah, and the picture ID. So another person comes and he has a local. He does not have he's not from a local bank, but he has. Inafaa kuwa dash. So he's not from a local bank, but he has a picture ID also. So this one, we're also going to reject his check. We're going to reject his check. So unaweka kama umereject, unaweka nini kasta hapo. So with that, I think that's how that. So these are the actions, and these ones we say these ones are action entries, or what would be the output. These are like the output in this decision table. They are like these ones. So mtu amekuja na nini yake iko na local bank na iko na picture ID amepewa. Yeah, so do you have a question? Joseph Kinodi is asking a question. Sorry, I have 4. Yes, Joseph.
All right. My question is regarding the table.
Yes.
Yeah, on the second part, on the local, hapo kuna ID identification.
ID identification.
Hapa kuna picture ID.
Picture ID, eh?
Yeah, should it be the last option about yes?
Should? Yes. Kama tuseme, let me just go back again. Let's say, for example, you have 4 conditions. Now tumeachana na hii kwanza, tuachane na hii kwanza, so that you get what I'm saying. Let's do another table that has got 4 conditions. 4 conditions. 4 conditions ni kama gani? Maybe you are checking for grades. Unaangalia grades. If somebody has got an A, amepewa here. But anyway, that one will complicate. But let's say you have 4 conditions. That one I have to think it over. So you're going to say you have four conditions, you raise it by 2. You raise it by 2. This is the number of alternatives. So what will be the answer for that? How many possibilities are you going to get?
16.
Yeah, so 16, eh? So utakuja hapo useme 16 possibilities. Kitu itaki kutoka. Yeah, so that is 16 possibilities. So then you say, you divide these 16 possibilities again by the number of alternatives. We have 2 alternatives. So 16 divided by 2. So hii itakuwa 8. What does this mean? It means that the first row of the rules will be, it will have 8 yeses and 8 nos. So can we be able to draw that? Let's try and draw that table. That table itakuwa hivi, insert table, and then I say how many. We say we have 2 columns and several rows. No. How many columns? Yeah, tuseme 2, is it 2 columns? So here we have conditions. So we have condition 1. We have condition 2. Then also we have got another condition 2 and condition 2, condition 3, and condition 4. Those are the conditions. Let's add some more rows. Then now, with these ones, how many rules are we going to have? We say with these ones we're going to have 16 possibilities. So tutakuja tuseme hapa using the word features. I'm going to choose split cells, and then I say I need how many columns? I need how many? 16. So ndio hizo. So these are called, we usually call them the what? We usually call them the rules. So the first one, the first row, this one, is going to pick the first. According to this one, is going to have yeses. How many yeses? Yes, 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 yes. How many are these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We need another one. Then the next one will be no, 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 no. Then still we have to break this one further. We're going to divide it into 2 again. Then we say yes, 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 yes. And then the last one will be no. The next one will be no, yes, no, 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 4 times. Then also we say another yes, yes. Is it yes, yes, yes? How many yeses? 4. And then no, another 4 times. No, no, no. We deduct it again. It's until it gets to yes, no, yes, no. That's when you're going to stop. So this one, how many yeses? It's yes. We divide these yeses by 2 again. So you're going to have yes, yes, no, no, yes, yes, no, no, yes, yes. And then the other one is no, no, and this one is going to be yes, yes. The last one is going to be no, no, no. So from there now, we divide this one again to 2. These possibilities, we divide them by the alternatives again. So it's going to be yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, yes, no. hivyo. Yeah, so from there, you'd be able now to make actions. You go to actions, and now in the actions, you have several actions. You have action. You can have even 3 actions. Like the next question I will give you, it has 3 actions. Action 1, then also you have action 2, action 3, depending on the question that you are handling. So this is action 2 and action 3. So this arrangement physically gives you marks to the examiner. Sione tu hivi, hii itakupatia marks. If you don't leave that question empty, you're going to, these ones we say they are called action, they are called action what? Action entries, this one. The ones that usually come here, I can actually merge it and then give them a name. I call them action entries. Of course, now they can action entries like that. So that at least you'll be able to know what the format of this table. Usually have condition in the rules, the action and the action entries. I hope it does not block. But mostly kitu haikuangi action entries that tuwekangi. Tunaiachanga. Your title action entry, but you only need to know it's an action entry at the back of your mind. So this is how it was supposed to be. So here you now be looking at these rules. So condition 1 is true, condition 2 is true, condition 3 is true. So this one, maybe you accept, depending on the question. This one is yes, 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 and no. So this one you can also accept, depending on the question that you have, like that, like that. So yours is to check. So even ndivyo inakuanga. Esther, kuna swali? There is somebody else with a question. Joseph?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
What makes you give it a yes? For example, that last example you have given, if there is 3 yes, 1 no, how will you know that?
Which
you
one?
have to give
Which
it
one? Which one?
last example?
Okay, come again.
Go to that last table.
Hii iko hapa. Hii. This one.
Yeah, hiyo.
Aha.
So nauliza, utajuaje inafaa upatie x ama minus? For example, ukikuja hiyo yes,
So,
yes,
of
no,
course,
no.
This one is for a more complex table, eh? Yeah, and for at our level we may not come to this. This was just an example as to how we create these ones or how we come up with the rules here. It's just to help you understand. But in case you find such questions, of course, now you will be able now. It all depends on the question they are asking. So far, I don't have a question that has got all these conditions. But in case you meet, currently I don't have any question. I don't have a question that has got 4 conditions. The maximum I have is 2, which is easier. I don't have any for 4 conditions. I have not seen, but maybe I can research on that. So far, I have 2 conditions. Yeah, the ones that I have here in my books. Sina yenye iko na more than 4 conditions. They are there, of course, but at our level, let's just deal with this 2. But just in case is there, nitaiangalia. Sasa hii ni ya kumsaidia ku understand how you come up with this one. So in case you have 16 conditions, just know that this is how you subdivide your rules. This is how you subdivide until you get to the point where you have a yes and a no, a yes and a no. That's when now you stop. Of course, that is usually the last row is usually a yes. You should always master that the last row of your decision table should be a yes and a no, a yes and a no, and a yes and a no. There is no circumstance where you find that this is not the case. Your case should always be like this. Sawa. So Esther, are you okay? Esther.
Yes, I'm okay.
Uko sawa? Oh, what about Joseph? You still raising your hand?
All right. My question is about the table we had earlier.
Hii.
Yeah, hiyo row ya mwisho tulipata ilikuwa si yes no.
Gani? Hii yenye tumefanya?
Yeah,
Hii ya picture. Oh yeah, inafaa kuwa
yeah,
yes no. Hapo that is an error. Supposed to be
yeah.
a yes no. Yeah, it's
Okay.
supposed to be like that. That's good. I have not seen that.
All right.
Thank you. Yeah. So it's supposed to be a yes no. It's, yeah, that's when you stop, of course. Okay, let's look at the last example for the decision table. And then we call it a class. Of course, time is far much gone, is 1:22, lakini tumeingia class tukiwa late sana. Tumeingia class late sana, saa 6 na kitu. Yeah, that's how. So let's look at this last question. Maybe I can, if it all does not go well, we can continue from there, or maybe you can do a research. So a clerk is another example. It's more complex. It's not like the others. Example. This one has more than. So a clerk is assessing the amount of discount allowed on a customer by a customer order. So that is the question, and is required to comply with the following policy. So this is a policy that you're supposed. So a clerk is assessing the amount of discount allowed. Okay. So he's checking for the discount. When am I going to allow you the discount? When am I going to allow you that other discount? So this is a condition or the circumstances that will determine whether somebody will receive the discount or not. In quotes, any order of Kenya shillings 500 or more received from a creditworthy customer attracts a discount of 5%. Discount of 5%. Similarly, orders of less than 500. Similarly, orders of less than 500 attracts a discount of 3%. Other circumstances must be referred to the supervisor for decision. So that is the question. Draw either a decision table. Draw a decision table. For this case, we are dealing with a decision table. Let's just draw a decision table instead of having to draw other things like decision trees. Those ones you draw them later on in system analysis and design. You still revisit these concepts in the system analysis and design in module 2 or module 2 of NEC. So you're supposed to draw a decision table from this. So how many conditions do you have? Any order of Kenya shillings 500 or more. So you're going to evaluate, that is a condition, of course. What will happen? And attracts a discount of 5%. Similarly, orders of less than 500 attracts a discount of 3%. Other circumstances must be referred to the supervisor for decisions. So that is another action. So how many actions do we have? We're going to allow discount and also allow a 5% discount and allow a 3% discount. So those are the actions. The conditions are how many from these questions? We are checking whether somebody's order is greater than 500. That is one condition. What else? So this one is more complex in that we're also going to look at something else. Another condition, we're checking their orders greater than 500%, or 500 Kenya shilling 500. And also, we'll also be checking whether the credit, the person is a credit-worthy customer. So we are checking two conditions. We are checking this one, whether your order is greater than 500 and whether you are a customer or you are a credit-worthy customer. So those are the conditions that will determine attracts the discount of 5. Similarly, orders less than 500. Of course, we cannot have 3 conditions. Here haiwezi work kwa hiyo chart. Is it possible? Don't think so. If we have 3 conditions, we don't have 3 conditions. I've never seen such a question with 3 conditions. 3 conditions. So it will be 3 raised to 2, which is 6. 6, eh? Nijaribu kuigawanya. Inaweza, it can still work. It's just rough work. Don't. I'm trying to check whether we can have a question with the 3 conditions, the read columns. So if you have 3 conditions raised to 2, 3 raised to 2 is how many? 6. We're going to have 6 divided by 2 is 3. Yes. And the second one will be no. And the next one will be yes. The other one is no. Yes. Yes. No. Yes. Yes. Okay, here we have got. I've never seen a question with 3. So the first one is yes. No. And this one is the yes. This one divided by 2. No. Yes, it can't work. So it's either you have, I think they work, mostly we work with even numbers that are divisible by 2, eh? So hatuwezi kuwa na condition 3 kwa swali. You usually have 2 conditions, 4 conditions, 8 conditions. I have never seen such. Tunaona kama sasa hii imekata. Tunaweza sema yes, you see. Yes, but no. Unaona haita work. There is some italeta shida. Cynthia Malo, you have a question? Haiwezi work at 3 conditions, can't. So what I'm trying to say is that in this question, don't assume that there are we only have 2 conditions. You can only work with 2 conditions. And that's why I'm saying some students will choose these two. They will choose this order and this, which is also okay. But for me, I will choose this one, the orders of 500 and also this one, whether you are credit worthy. So if you have an order, you have an order greater than 500 and also whether you are credit worthy customer. So those are the 2 conditions that I would use. And then from there, we'll be able to determine something. So let's work with this very quickly. I finish, then we continue from there next lesson. Of course, now I have finished the question, the concept of decision tables. So we said we draw table, no, not draw table, insert table. How many columns? We have 2 columns, and how many rows? As many rows as possible. And then from there now we can subdivide this table into several parts. So the conditions, how many conditions? Let me try and use the rules that I wrote. There are some steps I wrote for you on Wednesday, on Thursday. That's the one that I'm going to try and use. Then of course we have the rules. And then after the conditions, you have what we call the actions. How many actions do you have in these questions? So let's first of all determine, before we determine the actions, let's first of all determine the conditions. So conditions we have order greater than 50, greater than or equal to 500. That is the first condition. We're going to check that. Then the next condition is we're going to check whether this person is creditworthy. Those are 2 different things. Creditworthy. So actions. What will be the first action? The first action is give 5% discount. Allow 5% discount. That is the first action. The other one is allow 3%. Allow 3% discount. Then the other one is the other one is refer to supervisor, because if any other thing happens, you're going to refer this person to the supervisor. If, for example, somebody is not creditworthy and he has made a purchase of greater than 500, then you're supposed to refer that case to supervisor. So how many rules do you have? So we're going to divide this table into 4 columns, because we are going to say 2 raised to 2. 2 conditions raised to 2 raised to 2 itakuwa ni 4 columns. So tutasema layout, and then we split cells for 4 columns. So how many yeses and how many nos? Yes, yes, and no, no. And then the next one will be yes, no, and yes, no. This is a no. No. So now the actions, the action entries. This is tutoe. So we are checking whether we're going to allow this person a 5% discount, or whether we're going to allow this person 3% discount, or whether we're going to refer the person to the supervisor. So this person here, orders of greater of 500 or more received from a credit worthy customer attracts a discount of 500% or 5%, sorry. So what you're going to do here, we're going to say this person here has an order of greater than 500 and also is a credit worthy. So are we going to allow him a 5% discount, or are we going to allow him a 3% discount, or are we going to refer him to the supervisor? Of course, in our case, we're just going to allow him automatically is going to be allowed a 5% discount. Then we go to the next case. So this person here has an order of greater than 500 or more, and then he's not a credit-worthy customer. So this one is not a credit-worthy customer, but he has made an order of more than 500. What are we going to do to this person? Think in a concept of a supermarket. What are we going to do to that person? So let's see. He has made the 500. So here to do what we can do. Tuko pale kwa point of sale. We are the cashiers in this supermarket. We have realized that this person has made an order of 500, but he's not a credit-worthy customer. So what are we going to do? You cannot come to this point. Hatuwezi mpatia hapa 3%. Juu yake ni over 5%. So this one, we at the cashier, we're just going to refer this person to we tell him, no, we don't know what we can do because you are not a credit-worthy customer. So we're just going to refer you to the supervisor. Then another gentleman comes in. He has not made an order of, his order is not greater than 500%, but he's a what? He's a credit to the customer. So this one is likely he made a discount less than, you see, anybody who makes an order less than 500, he attracts a discount of 3%. Depending that he's a credit-worthy customer. So for this one, he has not made an order greater than 500, but when you look at the zile vitu wamenunua, they are maybe below. They are below the 500. Maybe it's 400 there. So, and he's also a credit-worthy customer. So what discount are we going to give him? We are going to give him. Are we going to refer him to the supervisor? No. We are going to give him a 3% discount. So these ones tunaweza weka dash easier. Itawezekana. So hapo tutaweka none. Then another one comes, does not make an order greater than 500, and also is not a credit-worthy customer. So what are we going to do to this one? Of course, this one we're automatically going to send him to the supervisor. And that completes that. To complete that concept of the decision, they are as easy as that. Don't complicate them. Don't make them more easier than that. I think I've tried as much as possible to Google for questions, to look for questions. Yeah. So I hope that one is clear. So for this one, we can say, we can put a dash there, and also we can put a dash there. So yeah, huyu atapewa hiyo, huyu tutampeleka kwa supervisor. Huyu juu ako na order the 500, more than 500, and is a credit-worthy, you're going to give him a 5% discount. So that's how it was supposed to be. Let me delete this. Also this one was just to help you understand what was supposed to happen. And with that, we've come to the end of the class, not unless it's somebody with a question. Cindy ametoka. I'm just going to forward you this in case you find these questions in the future, or maybe you have already written them. Have you drawn this, Cynthia? No. Yeah. Esther, do you have this? Have you drawn this?
Yes.
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 You have drawn, eh?
Yes,
Yes. What about Joseph? Have you drawn this?
Yes, I have drawn.
Sasa, I hope that is it with the concept of decision tables. Sasa yenu ni kutafuta more examples kwa vitabu na pia kwa internet, muone kama you can be able to solve those questions. But as for me, I've given you the concept. Now you have it in your fingertips. Yeah, so from there, I think we would continue with the with the structured charts. There's something else we call the structured charts, but those ones you're not going to handle them today. We're going to handle them from the next class. Maybe, do you have a past paper? Any past paper from your end? Let me see. I don't know whether I sent you any past paper. Let me see whether I can forward you a past paper as of now. I think I saw a question in your past paper that was requiring you to. I sent you here. Structured programming. See class. Let me try and look for a past paper and then I forward you. Just give me 1 minute. Just 1 minute. Done with this. Structured programming 2016. So at least you'll be able to answer your NEC people. I was about to give them a title, but so upload from my computer. Let me upload it very quickly. Graphic designs, diploma in introduction in C. That one, DICT. It's uploading. And there I have sent. Yeah, so you can download that question paper. Na msiambie wengine nimewasendia ndio wajue kumiss class.